Trans dating and organ preferences. Is it okay to have an organ preference? Say it with me. People are entitled to their preferences, and you're entitled to your feelings. Story time. So this was the worst FaceTime date I ever went on. So I'm on this call with this guy, and right out the gate he goes, "What do you want out of life?" He was very animated, like, jazz fingers, jazz fingers, jazz fingers. "What do you want out of life?" I was like, oh my God. Wow, you just come out right and say it. He goes, "Yeah, I hate small talk. I like getting right down into the nitty gritty." And I was like, okay, well, this is starting to feel like an interview. And he goes, "Isn't all dating kind of like an interview?" You know what he was giving? He was giving Alec Baldwin from that one Friends episode. "I'm dating myself right now, but that's what it felt like. Just, Isn't all dating kind of like an interview?" So that set the tone for the rest of the date. So I'm on this FaceTime date, and this guy shares that he's recently divorced because he discovered that him and his wife are not sexually compatible, so he's looking to exclusively date a trans woman. And I quote,
"My future wife must have a penis."
and I had thoughts. I had feelings, because I'm allowed. Now look, I'm a trans woman of a certain age, and my transition is for all intents and purposes complete. There's nothing else I really want to do. Now, if you had told me 10 years ago that I was going to transition and do everything that I did, I would have told you that you damn lost your mind. My point is that life can turn on a dime, and things that you didn't want before, you may want in the future. The rest of your life is a really long time. So the word never can feel absolute, final, and it can feel stifling to know that there's no option. To know that someone's attraction to me is primarily fixated on a specific body part, that it's a condition of their attraction, I would feel weird. That's uncomfortable. It was giving Mother Gothel from Tangled, loving Rapunzel for her hair, and not for Rapunzel herself. For many trans people, we don't feel weird about our bodies until you draw attention to it. For example, the bathroom debacle. Trans people would love nothing more than to be able just to pee freely in whatever bathroom they choose, without it having been politicized. But because it has become such a contentious debate, we feel weird about it. The same goes for our body parts. Our organs exist, and they're a part of us, and the only reason we feel weird about it is because it's become such a hot topic, because of people's hyperfixation on it. For a lot of trans people, when it comes to bottom surgery, it feels like you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. No matter what side you're on, surgery or no surgery, there's always going to be people who are only interested in you based on what organ you have. When I talk about chasers and fetishists, a lot of y'all in the comments talk about how this isn't exclusive to the trans experience. And yeah, I can recognize that we are all oppressed by the same forces. Patriarchy affects us all, cis women, trans women alike. But I do want to recognize that the trans experience has its own unique hoops that we have to jump through to simply exist, to date, to find love. The policing of our bodies, where we choose to pee, what organs we have. So when I talk about these concepts, I don't pretend to be the speaker for all. I can only speak from my experience, from my community. And I don't even speak for everyone in the community. I'm just talking from my unique perspective and how I see things. And while there are threads of commonality that bind us all together, there's also nuance and a unique experience that comes with the trans experience. That said, all comments, positive or negative, count as an engagement, so thank you. So, is it normal to have an organ preference? Sure. Look, there's a lot of people out there who love a good D. There's a lot of people out there who love eating. And just to set the record straight, I don't think that relationships ending over organ preference means that people in the relationship are fragile. Like my FaceTime date whose marriage ended because they were sexually incompatible. Or when two cis people get married and one of them later comes out as trans and decides to fully transition, bottom surgery and all. That's a very real reality that couples face. You get to decide what you will and won't accept. If upon further reflection you decide, you know what? You have this organ preference, I have weird feelings about that. I don't know if I can promise that. That's okay. Then don't date that person. Go find someone who wants what you want and likes what you got. And let them find their person too. It doesn't have to be a giant conspiracy about they're a chaser, they're a fetishist because they have this organ preference. Y'all are simply incompatible. Smart dating is not about dating every fish in the sea. It's about dating better fish. They're entitled to their preferences. And you're entitled to your feelings. And that doesn't make them wrong. It does, however, make them wrong for you. Let's take the power back, sisters. For more trans dating advice, download my free ebook, The Trans Survival Guide to Online Dating. Until next time, keep courage. Bye. Isn't all dating kind of like an interview?